officially confused and creeped out.
I can't wait!
Oh my, guys, ladies and gentlemen, it has begun. The Supernatural Comic-Con panel is and that guy right there,
yeah,
placardist if you believed, that's Rob Benedict, everybody.
And this, thank you, and this is Gabriel himself, Mr. Richard Spade Jr.
Yeah. Oh, man.
In case you forget, we're going to put these up here.
Yeah, in case you forget our names, we have our names. Dude, 3 years.
3 years we've been doing this.
3 years we've been doing it. Unbelievable. I mean, you know, great things happen in threes, right? Three? I mean, like...
Well, 3 strikes, you're out.
Three felonies, you're going to jail. That's...
At any rate, you know, remember last year when Kansas was here?
Oh, man. Yeah, you don't remember, that was... Oof.
And they sang the theme song to Supernatural.
They sang the hell of the theme song. Supernatural, yeah.
Remember how we did that? We got them here.
We?
Well, I mean, you know, somebody did.
I think it's probably Warner Brothers.
That's Mr. Brothers to you.
Oh, right. But Bobo, they're not here right now.
No, they had a thing.
They had a thing, I understand. But we have our own thing.
That's right, we do.
I mean, if Kansas couldn't be here, Bob and Dick are.
Yeah.
So in keeping with the theme, I give you us.
Close my eyes, only for a moment, but the moment's gone.
Here it goes, damn!
All my dreams
Wake up, Papa.
pass before my eyes, a curiosity.
I'm confused.
Dust in the wind.
Light your eyes.
All we are is dust in the wind.
Itty bitty little things floating around.
Dust in the wind!
I got allergies.
All we are is dust in the wind.
I chew.
Suck it, Kansas! No, we're kidding. We're big fans of Kansas. We love everything that Kansas
really
does.
sorry. The second thing was
Topeka, great city.
Very inappropriate.
At any rate, let's get on with the panel. What do you say, Rich?
Why the hell not?
You guys, our first panelist is a humble man who shrugs off accolades befitting a man of his talent and status. He simply asks that everyone refer to him as the High Imperial Lordship of all things televised.
And to never look him in the eye.
That's right. The original Bobo, executive producer and showrunner, Mr. Robert Singer! That's him. Original Bobo. Bob Singer.
It's gonna be Bobo on Bobo right here.
That's Bob Bobo.
The Bobo corner.
I'm Bobo Jr. And you're Richard Spade Jr.
Welcome, Bob.
Hey, Bob.
Next up. Thanks. Here's a little interesting tidbit for those following along at home. If our next panelist were to be a hobbyist street dancer, we could say that Dab dabbles in dabbling. Or dabbing. Damn it! Anyway, you get the point. He's the other executive producer, he's the other showrunner, and he's Utah's favorite son. Ladies and gentlemen, Andrew Dabb!
Andrew Dabb, give it up!
And that's the mosey of a confident man.
Right.
Man. One day. Andrew?
Andrew's wearing a Land's End shirt today. I feel like we need to be narrating their walk.
The runway? Yeah.
And for our next two guests, one of them is Bob Singer's better half, and the other is Eugenie Ross Lemming. Please welcome executive producers and writing team, Eugenie Ross Lemming and Brad Buckner. Eugenie's wearing her signature green hair, which we love. She's so adorable. And Brad,
there they are.
joining us for the first time.
I know. First timers, Brad Eugenie. You may know this next fella as Lucifer's son. We simply call him Big Al Cal. It's Alex Calvert, everybody. Yep, looking good, looking fashionable. Hello, Al. Welcome.
Good, Al. You're going to sit on the one that says Alex Calvert.
Go with the one that has your name on it.
That's you. That's your stage name. Yeah.
He was looking for Al Cal.
Yeah, he's looking for Al Cal. If it ever starts to rain, cozy up next to this next guy. He's got a trench coat with your name on it. You know what I'm talking about. He's costumed like a pervert because he is one. Ladies and gentlemen, Misha Collins.
Beloved Misha Collins. Our next panelist, I'm going to say this, I'm going to go on a limb.
Okay.
He's the best damn Dean cosplayer in the business. It's Jensen Ackles.
There he is.
He looks like Dean right now. That's incredible.
He does. He really does.
It's a genius.
Our final. I know, isn't he dreamy?
Yeah!
Our final guest's name rhymes with barehead wait a second, which is also what he says when he's about to grab his wig. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jared Padalecki.
Ladies and gentlemen, your Supernatural Comic-Con panel.
Well, we've got questions.
We do. Gentlemen, ladies, welcome. I'm going to start with you, Mr. Ackles. Here's the thing. A lot going on with Dean this year. As we saw in that last trailer, you are now Michael. You are doing something different. How is that? Because your Dean, over the years, has had a lot of things going on with him, but this is the first time you've really been embodying another character for this much time. How has that been as a performer for you, and how do you feel that's going story-wise?
Well, I guess technically speaking, there isn't a whole lot going on. Dean's kind of shotgun right now while Michael is driving. So it was a little challenging because normally you come back from having your break and kind of slide into you're going to keep the dust off and get those muscles working again. And to do it playing somebody completely different was certainly a little bit more challenging than anticipated, but very exciting, very fun. And I've gotten to work with have some cool scenes with some pretty cool people, so that's been exciting.
Right, and out of curiosity, because Dean, the Michael you've embodied has a completely...
Really quickly, I hadn't seen that scene yet, and that was my first time to see it, and I kind of got chills. I was like, way to go, Ackles.
Yeah,
It's also just really cold backstage, so...
and he's never seen the flu, but the point is...
But also,
the look of Michael, very different than how we picture Dean. Were you involved in crafting that? Is that something that you got involved in since it was a character you were playing?
Yeah, a little bit. There was some collaboration there. I threw out a few ideas. As some of you may know, I'm a big fan of the show Peaky Blinders, and that's obviously no surprise. But it wasn't, obviously we're not cut and pasting that necessarily, but definitely that kind of timeless look I was hoping to have for Michael, and as he is kind of a timeless figure. So it was certainly a collaboration. I was happy that I got to help with that.
Was there anything specifically you pulled inspiration from for developing the character?
So I was paying attention, knowing what where the story was going. I tried to pay attention to what Christian was doing with Michael last year, who I think did an exceptional job, and I actually pulled him aside during the last episode, and I asked him, I was like, hey, is there anything that you kind of keep in mind? Is there some sort of a checklist that you do before you go on camera? Maybe a little tidbit that I could help use that I could keep that continuity in the Michael that I'm playing. And he said, yeah, let me show you. I do this. And he gets up, and he's got that long coat. He just does it. So that's it. So I've been nailing it ever since.
This is what I do when I walk into a CVS, but it never works as well. Andrew, what's it like crafting the show? What's it like balancing what Dean is as a character versus what he becomes, possessed by Michael?
Well, I think when he possessed by Michael, he is Michael. Dean is there, and he's aware of what's going on, but he's not really coming to the fore. So Dean's Michael, and Dean, of course, will not be returning to the show.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Good night. In terms of the rhythm, like the word choices, you guys are working with the writers and developing that character. This obviously, Michael's going to have a different, entire pattern of speech and word choice and everything than Dean, I would assume. So that goes into that struggle. Does any of Dean ever seep out? Is there any sort of a mix of the two in this
Well, I
creation?
think with Michael, he's not, he's a funny character, pop culture savvy, and Michael's none of those things. I think some of Dean's mannerisms do seep out occasionally, but Michael's not a funny character necessarily, which has been a problem with the show, because we try to give more jokes to Misha, and it has not worked.
No, I see. Wow. Ouch.
That's why we watch the show.
They're like family, everybody. They're biggest thing.
It's the sitcom spinoff, Andrew and Misha. All right, Jared, we have a question for you, Mr. Padawan. So we know at least... Thank you so much. We know where Dean is starting.
Thanks, Mom.
What's going to be your role with the Apocalypse Hunters? Are you like a pledge in their frat? Something makes you involved? But how is Sam dealing with Dean's dilemma?
I think, thank you for the question. I feel like Sam this year has kind of taken, at least in the beginning, has taken on more of a leadership role, His brother's not around, and so he's sort of distracted. He hasn't shaved in a little bit.
So freaking hot!
Mike's on.
See, Bob? See, Andrew? No, so I feel like he's kind of all of these people whom he's never met but have been through crazy wars of their own are now sort of under his watchful eye in the bunker. We saw them all get there last year. And so Sam, without Dean for however long, sort of needs to take the cues and the lessons he's learned from Dean and try and sort of pass them on to all the Apocalypse World Hunters who are all kind of living under this one crazy roof. It's like the new Brady Bunch. That's what we're going for. So, yeah, it's a fun new part of Sam.
Awesome.
Scooby-Doo last season, Brady Bunch this season.
So, Misha,
We should call him.
Cass, don't get angry at them. They're supporting you. Please, you were the glancing. Cass is now kind of stepping into a more hunter role, it seems like. He's sort of more on the front lines of this struggle. How has that changed Cass's perspective and relationship with the boys in terms of the absence of Dean and now having to step into that position?
I think that this is definitely a roll up his trench coat sleeves moment for Cass, where
Even Al is like,
I don't think.
Sorry, Misha, sorry. And he's also taking Jack under his wing a little bit because Jack is struggling with some of the same things that
I don't know what you're talking about. I see no similarities.
that Cass has gone through in the past.
Right.
And Can I ask you guys a question? Sorry, is that all right?
Have at it. Yeah, for it.
So you cast Alex on the show, and Alex looks exactly like me. And I was wondering, like,
Just
is that-
better and younger.
Well, wait. No, it's actually like it feels like a whole generation now has lapsed on the show, and Alex to date won't submit to a paternity test. I keep trying to get a DNA sample from him.
Keeps asking for the 23andMe, and I'm like, no, not today, sir.
But are we at some point going to find out that like really Cass was the dad or something like that?
What do you think, Bob?
Spoiler alert.
I don't think they look anything alike.
Okay.
Okay, they look exactly alike.
That is the nicest thing you've ever said to Alexander.
No, they look, you guys look related. It's creepy. There's a thing there. There's a through line.
Wait till I start wearing a trench coat, then. That will be like the confirmation, I think.
Can you talk in a really boring voice? Wait till I wear a trench coat.
Well, now that we brought up Alex, we've lobbed her to Alex. Alex, first of all, welcome to your first Comic-Con panel.
I'm not even going to try and play it cool. This is awesome. So, thanks, guys.
So how do you feel, Alex? I mean, Jack is slotting into this recipe as well. I mean, there's a lot going on in terms of not having Dean around, in terms of the ongoing struggle to find your own identity. How's the season playing out for you so far, and where do you see it going?
I mean, so far it's been a little rough. Jack having no powers, I think, is a real adjustment for him. And really difficult for him to deal with kind of just being a half human. So that's kind of been a struggle so far, you know?
And Jack is like one of the most powerful creatures in creation, right?
I mean, it used to be, yeah.
That must be cool.
It's really cool to like have all these things going for you and then to just lose them all. So yeah, I feel good. I feel good, guys.
That is
the most-
like the Chris Farley interview.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
that's awesome.
So that's awesome.
I think I read their questions earlier, so I'm gonna butt in.
Yeah.
Is the most difficult part playing the son, the spawn of Lucifer, or when your cast members keep on trying to kick you in the crotchal region when you're on camera? What's the most difficult part?
You know, Jack is going through a lot of struggles right now, so knowing that I maybe kicked in the balls at any given time really helps me focus, on the loss and the pain that I'm dealing with at all times.
You're welcome.
Thank you guys so much. I'm so happy,
I feel very comfortable speaking to that. I went down on set at the end of last year and watched you guys doing a scene with Alex, and I have never seen more abuse at the hands of two grown men. And a poor guy who's just trying to cut his teeth on the show and do what he does. And it's unbelievable. And I literally went upstairs and reblocked every scene I had with you guys. I'm like, I need Padalecki over there, and I need Calvert over there. Because that's just a bad recipe, you two.
Well, it's happened to all of us, really.
Well, I've never gotten the Padalecki treatment.
Really?
No.
Oh, he's played a mean game of footsie with me under the table.
Is that
Try
what we're
playing
calling?
God when you got his foot in your crotch. Guys, but back to the, so really this is a question for the writers, Eugenie and Brad, Bob and Andrew. What's Michael's plan? What's his agenda?
Where do we see that going this year? Eugenie? Miss Eugenie?
Brad?
Well, this falls under the incredibly long list we had of do not reveals. So we all saw what Michael did in the previous world, which was not a good thing. So what is his agenda here? I mean, Michael called what he did in the last world, was pretty much decimated. He called that purifying the planet. So what is his version of purifying the Earth? We've seen him doing a question and answer at the outset of the piece that you just saw. So he's curious as to what humans want out of this. And now, because there is no angels to really pull together to be an army of angels as he had on the previous planet, he has to make do with what he has here. And so that's a big question that's hanging out there. Who is he going to organize as his support unit for whatever he's going to do to Earth? So he absolutely has a plan. It's going to begin to unfold. We're going to see him doing the recruitment of whoever he has to recruit to be on Team Michael. And so that's going to unfold very quickly in the first few episodes.
Cool.
He's got to be pretty stoked to look like Jensen, though. That's got to be pretty cool. Hey, buddy.
What's up, Rob?
How's it going?
It's going good.
Good.
You know, I was just thinking about when we were talking about Alex and him being one of the most powerful creatures or things on the show, and now he's not. Generally, we get rid of those kind of omnipotent characters, and they don't really come back. And so I think it was a really nice way for the writers to find a way for Alex to stay on the show. I think it just speaks volumes to his performance, to Alex, and the skills that he possesses. Anyway, just food for thought.
His sort of vibrant manner, his raw talent, obviously, things that would make the writers...
Don't get the wrong idea. He's still going to kick you in the balls, but...
He clearly held Alex as an individual, as a person, as an actor, as a performer, clearly holds some sort of powers where the writers cared about him enough to take away his proverbial powers. I agree with you, Jensen.
Yeah, those are all great points. Really good points. Solid arguments to be made. Anyway, Mr. Mayor, I actually even get in front of the writers. I can ask them that question, but we'll move on because we've got things to talk about. But anyway, I'm your grandfather, so don't. Misha and Al-Cal, we hear that you guys might be bonding more this season. There might be more things between your two characters. How do you feel? That's got to be exciting, especially that you look like his creepy uncle. Have you heard about
like
that?
Everybody's creepy uncle.
It's funny. Every year I feel like I get up on this panel and just sustain abuse. It's kind of nice. Reminds me of Set. No, I'm just kidding. It doesn't feel like abuse. It feels like love. Is it love?
Stockholm Syndrome.
Yeah, I think we sort of touched on this already, but I'm excited about it. Are you excited about it, Alex?
No. Working with Misha Collins is almost as bad as working with Jared Jensen. It's on par.
Kid learns fast.
Since you said my name, I'm just gonna do one thing. Can I get a couple of volunteers from the audience here?
Nobody? Really nobody?
I just have some voter registration cards, and if a handful of people could just walk around and pass them out to anybody that has their hands raised, and anybody can register to vote if you're going to be 18 by November. You can also, even if you're not sure if you're registered, you can just take one of these forms as just in case. And if you don't live in California, you can go to vote.gov to register wherever you live.
And this is the link that Misha Collins will go to get that People's Choice Award. So,
All right. He needs 4 people. This will go great, I'm sure. What could possibly go wrong in this scenario? Wow. While that's happening, Alex, I'm going to ask you a question. Your relationship with Sam and Dean last year was they were very much paternal figures to you as you sort of came into the world. Misha and Castiel seems to be falling into that role a little bit as the season begins here, especially in the absence of Dean. So where do you see your relationship going with Sam and Dean now? How does the cast parental role change your relationship with Sam and eventually Dean?
Well, what's really cool about this show is that, I guess kind of like Scooby-Doo is you can break up the relationships and you guys can kind of like have different people go on a journey. So, investigate this part of the mansion. I don't know. But for me and Cass, it's very cool that we get to have this kind of sustained celestial bond.
Right.
But I think the ultimate thing is getting Dean back. That's, I think, everyone's kind of driving motivation is we want to get him back into the fold,
Gotcha.
That's a good plan. Okay, this is
Thank you, grandfather.
There you go. Now you're getting it.
I'm learning. Thank you.
This is my favorite question to ask because the answer is never me. Andrew, last year was fun because we saw the return of so many of our favorite including characters played by our humble moderators, -1. So what about this season? Can we expect to see more of the old faves?
Well, you try to bring back the favorites. I think that's important. And, you know, we've been on the show for 14 years. A lot of people fall by the wayside. That's life.
Andrew told me this summer that they give all the favorites directing jobs as well.
Yeah. So, well, there are certain people you're interested in their career and them as people.
Yes.
Yeah, and you want to help their lives. Yeah.
Even the Almighty gets no respect. Thank you. Thank you.
Bob would speak this as well, but Jody Mills will be back for us.
Hey!
Jody Mills will be back for us. And I think we'll be seeing some other members of the Wayward family as well.
Like the girls. Anybody else? You can't say who else might...
I think we'll see Rowena will be back for us.
There you go. Cool.
She might even be in the house. Ruthie, are you here? Ladies and
Here's Ruth Connell,
the one and
Rowena herself.
Brilliant job.
Well done.
Are there any plans to bring back Ruby? Also in the house somewhere.
Also in the house.
Where is my wife?
Genevieve Padalecki. Back there. All right, well, this congratulations. Last season was another great season. It's unbelievable. Speaking from the heart here, to watch the show, to watch all my friends on the show, and to see everyone giving 100% in season 13 last year, amazing. And now 14. This year, you're going to hit 300 episodes. Can you tease anything, any big plans for episode 13, which will be the 300th? Bob?
I can't give that information. Andrew has a plan. He hasn't let me in on it. As far as I know, he hasn't let anybody in on it. I'm directing it.
That's exciting.
There we go.
I'd like to know what I'm directing, but Andrew will tell me.
This is a request from Jensen, not me, but he thought that again, his words, not mine, but he thought that the 300th episode should be called the 300 and we're wearing togas.
Clip show. I said clip show.
Do you remember when?
By the way, when you asked about if Jensen had any input on his wardrobe for Michael,
Right.
and he said, well, a little bit. Anytime Jensen has to dress either as we did the Western or we did going back to the 1930s, here's Jensen's input. This is what I want to wear. Give me that hat, I want that coat. You have to make that special for me because the pants have to be, so his input is, just do it the way I want and I'll be happy.
Listen, to be fair, it's not just the time traveling types of things. I do that a lot, and one of them specifically, the dodgeball gym coach. So you're welcome.
Dean's enthusiasm for the cowboy western theme was also just like Jensen's enthusiasm. You were legitimately more excited than your character about that hat. And I love hat that they gave me. It was like a see-through. What was that?
It was like a carnival hat. I mean, you had like a Stetson ad next to like a sideshow carny act.
Like a Barker.
Oh, guess your weight.
So gang, listen, you're sitting here at the precipice of, record-setting episodes of television in your genre. Congratulations. The show hasn't lost its energy, it hasn't lost its steam, it hasn't lost its unique energy that attracts the fans. I'm curious from you guys who've been involved in the show, starting with you, Brad, at the end and coming all the way down. What do you think it is that makes the recipe still work, still stay fresh, and still engaging fans at the level that it does?
Starting down here?
We'll start with you, buddy.
This would be the end. I think the fact that these characters keep evolving and we keep learning more and more about them, they have changed so much from the beginning and we're learning more and there are more of them. I think we've added to the family. If the theme of the show is family, it's not theoretical. It's not people who were around and are now dead. It's an increasing number of people that we're really getting to know and the interactions of them. And so I really think that the spirit of that, in addition to all the plot stuff that gets layered onto it, you're getting more information about this collection of people that you're growing to love. And I think that's what holds the show together over and over.
And we bring everybody to the brink of something. That we push all our characters to where they think they can't go any further, and then somehow at the other side of that, they are redeemed. So I think there's a lot about redemption and loyalty, but with everything, whenever you see loyalty, you see betrayal. So these are sort of time-honored themes that we play with in the bodies of real, likable and available characters that everybody loves. So, and also the characters keep mutating. We find out more and more about them in ways I think that even surprise us as writers. We have to sort of push ourselves to the brink every once in a while to find a new way to explore these guys. So the audience, I think, really likes that journey.
Alex? Short and sweet. I mean, I think it's brotherhood at the end of it. It's you guys, me, brothers, and family.
Yeah, I think when you've been doing something a show for this long, it really all kind of circulates and pivots around one central character, and I think that from the beginning till probably the end, it's always going to be about that one particular character, and that is the car
And the brothers that ride inside of it. That's a great question, and a question I thought of myself, or I've tried to figure out the answer. I think there are many, many facets to why we're still going. Number one is y'all. And that's not lip service. It's sharing the place of number one is we have a really supportive networking studio who let us play, and let us play. These guys over here, Eugene and Brad, are the ones that really create the show and run the show. And then Misha and I and Alex and Jensen and the rest of the cast, we kind of get to play within it. But it feels like both in Vancouver and probably in Los Angeles as well, the relationships amongst the people creating the show are legit. Like I care about the people I work with. He cares about the people he works with. Same. And so I feel like there's a legitimate sense of family, both our SPN family and our behind-the-scenes family. And Supernatural's been lucky, and y'all have been so supportive, and we haven't been forced to, maybe because we've been around for so long, we haven't been forced to have some sort of like contrived romantic relationship every episode, where it's like, oh, does he love me? Does she love me? Do I love? It's just, we get to tell stories, the classic archetypal stories, that mean something to everybody. They don't, in this weird, bizarre, ironic way, we're telling stories about demons and ghosts and Lucifer that everybody can relate to. It's kind of weird, right? Right. It's super strange, but it's certainly helped me. And I think we should have a neat base, hyper talented writing staff. and actors that the audience forgive. So, yeah.
This is rare, but I'm going to sort of echo something that you just said. I really think that it is about this fandom largely. There are so many factors that go into what has been successful about this show. I think it's everything that everyone's mentioned so far. But there are some unique ingredients that go into this particular dynamic, one of which is that the show has been on for so long that people who started watching the show 14 years ago have literally grown up with the show. We meet people who are, just graduating from college who were children when they started watching, and we were children when you started watching. So we have all literally grown up with this show, and the bonds that you form over the course of 14 years within the cast and you guys with the characters on the show begins to coalesce in an almost literal sense around the word family. You actually start to feel like one another are a part of your family. You guys, I mean, we have spent so much time together over the last decade, and like family, it's very challenging and emotionally draining, but it's also very real. We have forged real emotional bonds, and I think that the audience can't help but do the same with the characters on the show, and that's a really special thing that can only come about when you refuse to go off the air.
Andrew? I think we've been very lucky that we've been gifted with an incredible cast. And I think we have multiple TV stars on this show, and I think there were other shows that do not have those riches. And anything you throw at these guys, they can handle, they can bring honesty and emotion to. Jared has played Lucifer, Nisha's played also Lucifer. What Jensen's doing with Michael, and what Alex is doing when he gets possessed by Rowena later in the season, I think we're amazing.
I'm learning so much today.
What they bring to the table is so exceptional that, as a writing staff and as producers, whatever you throw at them, is going to be made even better than what's on the page. And I think that's, the core of the show.
Bob?
Yeah, no, it's great that you guys would come to me last after, not left to say. I think one thing we do, this is a bit of a dry answer, I think, but I think a lot of shows, they really accelerate their plots to keep an audience interested. We sort of slow roll our plot out over time, over a season. And I think one reason we can do that is because we have the cast that we have, and we can give them interesting stuff, and we sort of can rely on the character development and these characters that you've come to love without pushing the plot forward so fast that it becomes kind of a breakneck pace, and then at the end of season 2 you're going, God, we got no story left to tell. So I think the way this show has been cast and the way the writers through the 13th and going into 14th season have sort of embraced the idea of character-driven stories. And I think that's one reason we've lasted this long, is because we don't rush it. We tell the story that seems to the appropriate time to actually tell the stories.
Awesome.
Well, I think it's time to turn it over to the people who make the show. The audience. Questions?
Let's hear some questions from the audience.
Hi guys.
Hi.
Before I ask a question, I just wanted to let you guys know Jared, Jensen, Misha, Alex, all of you guys are so loved and valued as human beings. So thank you so much for getting up in the morning and doing your best. I was wondering, after so long working together, what are the little moments or the big life lessons that you're going to be taking with you when all is said and done?
Wow. Thank you. Good to see you again. I've said this a few times. There's so many things. How long you got?
All day.
All day. It's been a funny. I started the show when I was 22. I just recently turned 36. Thank you. and there's a difference. I'm still, I hope I'm not halfway through my life, but there's a difference between a 22-year-old starting a show and a 36-year-old who's married to 3 kids and been on a show for a while. And there's a certain romance and a draw to living life like life is short. Make the most of it. Like, dude, like every day has to be the best day of all time. And then the older I get, the more excited I am to treat life like life is long. Sort of echoing what Bob was saying about the show, my life has gotten better by treating it as if it's going to be longer compared to when I treated it like it was going to be short. So making the most of even just the mundane, working and finding new friendships that are going to last for a while, and really nurturing it and cultivating it like a garden you'll never see blossom. So I think for me, it's not trying to rush things anymore. I think I'm past that point in my life where, I'm like, oh, every day has to be the best day of all time, man. FOMO, YOLO, or whatever.
You're very hip.
Yeah, very hip. Yeah. So
You wear that hat, you gotta be hip.
the slower I take things, the better. I've learned to take things more slowly.
Yeah, there's a very, very lengthy list of things that I've learned while doing the show. I've learned things from everybody up here. I consider Bob to be a mentor of mine, and yes, Alex, I've even learned a few things from you.
YOLO?
No,
Sorry, my bad.
it's okay. But I think when all's said and done and the show does finally come to an end, there's a lot of things that I will take with me. One of them will be the car, because when they yell cut, there's just going to be a dust cloud. The Canadian border, the U.S. border is pretty close, and I think if I can make it through there, you're going to have a tough time. Just want to put that out there.
All right, we have little time, so we'll go to one other question, and that question is.
Hello.
Hello.
So, I noticed in the trailer you would include a lot of new monsters. So, thank you. So, I was just wondering, since there's a lot of famous sci-fi monsters, which sci-fi monster do you most want to go up against aside from Supernatural?
I'd say probably Donald Trump.
That's even too scary for us.
Thank you for the question.
All right, thank you. All right, we have a little surprise for you. We want to show you something before this is all done.
Turns out, apparently, sometimes, rarely, while shooting the show, there are slip-ups, there are foibles, there are gags. So we have a gag reel. Ladies and gentlemen,
The gag reel.
the gag reel.
We are thinking.
Brad Buckner, Eugenie Ross Lemon, Big Al Cal, Alex Calvert, Jensen Ackles, Jared Padalecki, Misha Collins, Andy Mann, Bob Singer. I'm Rob Benedict. That's Richard Spade Jr. Thank you so much.
Thank you.